Welcome, dear listener. Make yourself comfortable. Let your breathing slow, and allow your mind to drift as we begin a gentle journey into the world of one of nature's most elegant creatures, the flamingo. Close your eyes if you wish, and imagine yourself standing at the edge of a vast, shallow lake. The water stretches out before you like a mirror, reflecting the soft colors of a setting sun. And there, in the distance, you see them, a gathering of pink, standing quietly in the golden light. The very name flamingo is a whisper of their beauty. It comes from the Spanish and Portuguese word flamengo, which means flame-colored. When early explorers first encountered these birds along tropical coastlines centuries ago, they must have thought they were witnessing something almost magical, living flames walking calmly through the water. And in a way, they were. Flamingos are among the oldest bird species on our planet. Their ancestors first appeared somewhere between 30 and 50 million years ago, long before humans walked the earth, long before the mountains we know today had finished rising from the ground. These ancient birds watched the world change around them, and somehow, they remained. If you were to travel back through time, you would find flamingo fossils scattered across unexpected places, not just in Africa or South America, where we often picture them today, but in regions as surprising as Australia and parts of Europe. Fossilized flamingo remains have been discovered on nearly every continent, telling us that these birds once wandered far more widely than they do now. The world was their home, and they painted its waters pink wherever they went. But what makes a flamingo a flamingo? Let us begin with perhaps their most recognizable feature, that remarkable color. When a flamingo chick first hatches from its egg, it does not emerge in brilliant pink or coral or rose. No, baby flamingos are born with gray or white fluffy feathers, looking rather plain compared to their striking parents. They are soft little things, unaware that transformation awaits them. You see, flamingos are not born pink. They become pink through the food they eat. The shallow lakes and lagoons where flamingos feed are home to tiny organisms, algae, brine shrimp, and small crustaceans, that contain natural pigments called carotenoids. These are the same pigments that make carrots orange and tomatoes red. As a flamingo feeds, day after day, filtering these small creatures through its specialized beak, the carotenoids build up in its feathers, its skin, even its legs. Slowly, over time, that gray chick transforms into the blushing beauty we recognize. Imagine that, becoming more colorful simply by eating. The pinker the flamingo, the healthier and better fed it tends to be. In the flamingo world, that rosy glow is a sign of vitality, a quiet announcement that says, "I am thriving." Now, picture yourself moving closer to the water's edge. You watch a flamingo dip its head beneath the surface, and you notice something peculiar. The flamingo feeds with its head upside down. That long, curved neck bends, and the bird's beak turns completely over, skimming just above the muddy bottom. This is no accident of posture. A flamingo's beak is specially designed for upside-down filter feeding. Inside that distinctively curved bill are rows of thin, comb-like structures called lamellae. When the flamingo takes in a mouthful of water and mud, its thick tongue pumps back and forth, sometimes as many as 4 times per second, pushing water out through those tiny filters while keeping the nutritious bits inside. It is a system as elegant as it is efficient, perfected over millions of years. And so the flamingo stands there in the fading light, head submerged, quietly feeding. The water ripples gently around its legs. Speaking of those legs, have you ever wondered why a flamingo stands on one leg? You have likely seen this pose, that perfect balance, one leg tucked up and hidden beneath a wing, the bird appearing almost statue-like in its stillness. Scientists have studied this behavior for many years, and research suggests that standing on one leg helps flamingos conserve body heat. By tucking one leg up close to their warm body, they reduce the amount of heat lost through their legs into the cool water. It is a simple solution, really, but beautifully effective. And remarkably, flamingos can stand on one leg with very little muscular effort. Scientists have studied this behavior for years, wondering how it's possible. How could a bird balance so effortlessly while completely asleep? The answer is remarkable. A flamingo's leg has a special locking mechanism in its joints. When the bird shifts its weight just right, the bones and tendons click into place, holding the leg steady without any muscular effort at all. The flamingo isn't working the balance, its body simply stays in place, as naturally as a tree stands rooted in the earth. So as you drift towards sleep tonight, perhaps imagine yourself as a flamingo, balanced, effortless, perfectly at rest. The lake grows quieter now. The sun has nearly set. Around you, the flamingos begin to settle, some tucking their heads beneath their wings, others still standing in peaceful contemplation of the water. The flamingos are stirring. The soft gray light of early morning reveals just how many of them there are, hundreds, perhaps thousands, stretching across the shallow water in every direction. They stand together, move together, and as you will soon discover, they do nearly everything together. Flamingos are deeply social creatures. They do not thrive in solitude. Unlike some birds who prefer a quiet life alone or in small pairs, flamingos seek out the company of others. They gather in groups called flocks or colonies, and these gatherings can be truly enormous. Imagine, if you can, a single flamingo colony containing over 1 million birds. This is not fantasy. Such colonies have been documented in parts of East Africa, where the conditions are just right and the food is plentiful. 1 million flamingos, all standing together, their collective pink turning the entire lakeshore into something that looks like a living sunset. In these vast gatherings, the flamingos find safety. More eyes watching means more chances to spot danger approaching. More bodies standing together means any single bird is less likely to be the one chosen by a predator. There is comfort in numbers, protection in community. But these colonies are not just about survival. They are also about something rather beautiful. Flamingos need the energy of the group to feel inspired to breed. In small groups, flamingos often will not mate at all. They require the buzz of a crowd, the presence of many others going through the same rituals. It is as though they feed off the collective excitement, each bird encouraging the next. And what rituals they are! When breeding season arrives, the colony transforms into a stage for one of nature's most synchronized performances. Flamingos engage in elaborate group courtship dances. Picture this: dozens, sometimes hundreds of flamingos moving together in unison. They stretch their necks high and turn their heads sharply from side to side. They march in tight formation, their steps perfectly matched. They spread their wings suddenly, revealing hidden flashes of black and crimson feathers beneath. These dances can go on for hours. The birds call out to one another, a chorus of honking and grunting that might not sound musical to our ears, but carries deep meaning to them. Through these movements, through this shared rhythm, pairs begin to form. Two flamingos find each other in the crowd and decide, yes, you are the one. And when a pair bonds, they bond deeply. Flamingo pairs are generally monogamous, at least for the breeding season. Once they have chosen each other, they work together on everything that comes next. They are true partners in the task ahead. Together, the pair will build a nest. But this is not a nest of twigs and leaves perched in a tree like many birds create. No, flamingos build nests out of mud. Using their beaks and their feet, they scrape and pile mud into a small mound, shaping it carefully over many days. The finished nest looks rather like a tiny volcano rising from the ground or shallow water, a cone of packed earth with a small depression at the top. This elevated design serves an important purpose. The lakes and flats where flamingos breed can experience flooding and temperature swings. By building their egg up off the ground, even by just 10 or 12 inches, the flamingos protect it from rising water and from the heat that radiates off the sun-baked earth below. And into this carefully constructed mud cradle, something precious arrives. A female flamingo typically lays just one egg per breeding season. Just one. Not a clutch of 4 or 5 like a robin, not a dozen like a duck. One single, precious egg, about the size of a large chicken egg but slightly more elongated, its shell a pale chalky white. Both parents take turns keeping this egg warm. One will sit carefully atop the mud mound while the other goes off to feed, and then they switch. Day after day, night after night, they share the responsibility equally. The incubation period lasts about 27 to 31 days, nearly a full month of patient waiting, of trusting the process, of taking turns. Can you imagine that kind of patience? That kind of quiet dedication? Perhaps there is something to learn from the flamingos about the value of waiting, about the rewards of sharing a burden with someone you trust. And then, finally, the egg begins to crack. The chick inside uses a small temporary tooth on its beak, called an egg tooth, to break through the shell. It is exhausting work for such a tiny creature. The hatching process itself can take a full day or even longer. But eventually, a small gray head emerges. Wet feathers. Wobbly legs. Dark eyes blinking at the world for the first time. The parents watch over their newly hatched chick with great care. And in just a few days, that little one will stand up on its own feet, ready to take its first steps into a life surrounded by family, by flock, by the endless shallow waters that flamingos call home. Let us leave them there for now, the parents and their new chick, the colony stretching out around them, the morning sun climbing higher over the lake. The journey has only begun for this little flamingo, and there is still so much of its story left to tell. Now we will follow this little one through the remarkable journey of growing up. The flamingo chick is only a few days old, but already it is hungry. It looks up at its towering parents with its small dark eyes, waiting for food. But what could these filter-feeding birds possibly give to a chick too young to stand in the water and feed itself? The answer is something quite extraordinary. Flamingo parents feed their chicks with a substance called crop milk. Despite its name, this is not milk like mammals produce. Instead, it is a highly nutritious liquid created in the lining of the parent bird's digestive tract, a part of the throat called the crop. This substance is thick and rich, packed with fats and proteins that the growing chick desperately needs. And here is something truly remarkable: flamingo crop milk is bright red in color. The same carotenoid pigments that turn adult feathers pink become concentrated in this liquid food. When a parent flamingo regurgitates crop milk into its chick's waiting beak, it almost appears as though it is feeding the baby something magical, something vivid and alive. Both the mother and the father produce this crop milk. They take turns feeding the chick, just as they took turns warming the egg. This shared feeding is so demanding that the parent's own feathers often fade during chick rearing season. They are literally giving their color away, transferring the precious pigments from their own bodies into nourishment for their young. Imagine that kind of sacrifice. Giving so much of yourself that it changes your very appearance. The parents grow paler, but their chick grows stronger. Now the chick is perhaps a week old. It stands on wobbly legs, taking tentative steps away from the mud nest. The world beyond the mound must seem impossibly vast to something so small. But the chick does not have to face this world alone. Young flamingo chicks gather together in large groups called creches. Think of it as a nursery, or perhaps a school for young flamingos. While the parents go off to feed, sometimes traveling great distances to find the best foraging grounds, the chicks stay together, watched over by a small number of adult flamingos who act as guardians. These creches can be enormous. A single creche may contain thousands of chicks, all huddled together in one great gray and fluffy mass. From a distance, it might look like a moving cloud resting on the ground, so many small bodies gathered in one place. But now a question arises. When a parent returns from feeding, how does it find its own chick among thousands of nearly identical gray fluff balls? How can it possibly tell one baby from another? The answer lies in sound. Each flamingo chick has a unique call, and its parents learn to recognize this call from the very moment of hatching. Even before the chick fully emerges from the shell, it begins making noises, and the parents listen carefully, memorizing the specific pitch and rhythm of their baby's voice. When a parent returns to the creche, it calls out. Thousands of chicks might call back. But the parent listens through all that noise for one particular sound, the voice of its own offspring. And remarkably, it finds it. The chick, too, recognizes its parent's call and moves toward the sound. They find each other through voice alone, reuniting in a crowd of thousands. There is something deeply moving about this, is there not? The idea that a parent's ear is tuned so perfectly to one small voice. That a child's cry can cut through the noise of the world and reach exactly who it needs to reach. Weeks pass. The chick grows larger. Its fluffy gray down begins to fall away, replaced by proper feathers. At first, these new feathers are still gray or whitish brown. It takes 2 to 3 years for a young flamingo to develop full adult pink coloring. The transformation is gradual, a slow blush spreading through the feathers as the bird feeds more and more on carotenoid-rich foods. Patience. Everything in the flamingo's life seems to move at a pace of patience. And the chick's beak is changing too. When it was very young, the beak was straight and rather ordinary looking. But a flamingo's distinctive curved beak does not fully develop until the bird is several weeks old. Slowly, the bend becomes more pronounced, the beak rotating and curving downward into that characteristic shape. Only then can the young flamingo begin learning to filter feed on its own, dipping its head upside down as its parents do, practicing the ancient motion. Flamingos stomp their feet in the mud to stir up food from the bottom. Those long pink legs march in place, churning the sediment, releasing shrimp and larvae and algae that have settled into the muck. Once the food is floating free, the flamingo sweeps its beak through the murky water and catches its meal. It's a little dance. A quiet rhythm. Stomp, stomp, filter. Stomp, stomp, filter. The flamingo creates its own opportunity, stirring up abundance from the stillness of the lake floor. Flamingos have 19 vertebrae in their necks. 19 individual bones, stacked one upon another, each one capable of small movements that add up to extraordinary flexibility. For comparison, humans have only 7 neck vertebrae, and so do most other mammals, from mice to giraffes. But the flamingo has 19. 19 points of articulation. 19 chances to bend and curve and twist. This is what allows the flamingo to tuck its head backward to sleep, resting its beak on its own back. This is what allows it to turn its head completely upside down to feed. This is what gives the neck that flowing, serpentine quality that makes flamingos so mesmerizing to watch. 19 bones, working in perfect harmony. Each one small. Each one essential. Together, creating something beautiful. At last, the young flamingo is ready to take flight. This is no small matter. Flamingos are large birds with long legs and broad wings. Taking off requires effort, a running start across the water, wings beating hard, legs churning. But once airborne, flamingos are powerful flyers, capable of traveling up to 400 miles in a single night. They fly with their necks stretched forward and their legs trailing behind, their bodies forming a long graceful line against the sky. They can fly at speeds of 35 to 40 miles per hour. The young flamingo joins the flock in flight for the first time. Below, the lake grows smaller. Above, the stars will slowly. And all around, the steady sound of wings beating together carries them forward into the night. The young flamingo joins the flock in flight for the first time. Below, the lake grows smaller. Above, the stars will slowly. And all around, the steady sound of wings beating together carries them forward into the night. Our little chick is not so little anymore. It has grown from a fragile gray fluff ball into a capable young bird, ready to travel, ready to explore the world alongside its flock. But the flamingo's story is far from over. There are still mysteries to uncover: where these birds travel, how they survive in the harshest environments on Earth, and how long a single flamingo life might last. Perhaps you have always imagined flamingos standing in gentle tropical lagoons, surrounded by palm trees and soft breezes. And yes, some flamingos do live in such places. But many others choose environments far more challenging, far more extreme. Flamingos often thrive in highly alkaline or saline lakes, waters so caustic that they would burn human skin. These are not gentle waters. They are harsh, chemical-laden environments where the pH levels can climb high enough to strip away organic material. The shores of such lakes are often encrusted with white salt deposits, giving them an almost alien appearance. And yet the flamingos stand there, unbothered, feeding peaceful. Why? How is this possible? How can a living creature wade through waters that would harm so many others? Flamingos have tough, scaly skin on their legs that protects them from caustic waters. This leathery covering acts as a barrier, preventing the harsh chemicals from reaching sensitive tissue beneath. They can stand for hours in conditions that would injure other birds, their legs armored against the sting. And there is another remarkable adaptation. Flamingos can drink water that is nearly boiling. In some of the volcanic lake regions where they live, hot springs feed into the waters, creating areas of intense heat. The flamingos approach these thermal vents and drink directly, their bodies somehow tolerating temperatures that would scald us. Imagine standing at the edge of one of these lakes. The air smells of sulfur and salt. Steam rises from vents in the earth. The water shimmers with strange colors, reds and oranges and milky whites caused by minerals and bacteria. It looks more like another planet than anywhere on Earth. And there, standing calmly in the midst of it all, are the flamingos. Pink against the alien landscape. Life persisting where it seems it should not. Perhaps you are wondering why. Why would any creature choose such a difficult home when gentler waters exist elsewhere? The answer is both simple and profound. These extreme environments provide flamingos with abundant food and protection from predators. The same harsh conditions that challenge the flamingos make life impossible for many other animals. Fish cannot survive in such caustic waters. Most mammals stay far away. Even other birds avoid these chemical laws. But the tiny organisms that flamingos eat, the brine shrimp, the algae, the small crustaceans, these simple life forms thrive in exactly these conditions. Some of the lakes where flamingos feed have such dense concentrations of algae that the water itself appears pink or red. The flamingos are simply following the food, and the food has led them to places where almost nothing else can follow. In harshness, they have found abundance. In difficulty, they have found safety. Let us travel now to one specific place, a lake so remarkable that it deserves special mention. In the East African country of Tanzania, there lies a body of water called Lake Natron. It is fed by volcanic springs. Its waters are blood red from the algae that bloom in its caustic shallows. The surrounding landscape is barren and cracked. Temperatures during the day can exceed 100 degrees Fahrenheit, and the alkalinity is strong enough to calcify animals that die in its waters. It sounds like a place of death. And yet, Lake Natron is the most important breeding ground for lesser flamingos in all of Africa. Up to 75% of the world's lesser flamingo population is born on this one hostile lake. The flamingos build their mud nests on the salt flats that form when parts of the lake dry out. The extreme conditions keep predators away. Jackals and hyenas will not cross the burning flats. Eagles and other birds of prey avoid the noxious atmosphere. The flamingo chicks hatch in one of the safest places on Earth, safe precisely because it is so unwelcoming to everything else. There is a lesson here, perhaps. Sometimes the most challenging paths lead to the greatest security. Sometimes what appears hostile from the outside is actually a sanctuary for those adapted to endure it. Flamingos can survive for several days without eating, relying on fat reserves stored in their bodies. When times are lean, the flamingo draws on these reserves, converting stored energy into the fuel it needs to stay alive. It slows down. It conserves what it has. It waits. This is not a long-term solution. Eventually, the flamingo must eat or fly somewhere else to find food. But for short periods of scarcity, a dry spell, a disruption in the food supply, the flamingo's body can sustain itself. There is resilience in this. A built-in buffer against hard times. The flamingo prepares for difficulty by storing abundance, and when difficulty comes, it draws on what it has saved. You have reserves too. Strength you might not know about until you need it. The ability to endure more than you think you see. But flamingos do not live only in volcanic hellscapes. They are more versatile than that. Flamingos can be found on every continent except Australia and Antarctica. They wade through the salt pans of southern Africa, the coastal lagoons of the Caribbean, the high-altitude lakes of the Andes Mountains, the wetlands of southern Europe, and the desert lakes of the Middle East. Wherever the conditions are right, shallow water, abundant small organisms, relative safety, flamingos may appear. And some of these locations might surprise you. Wild flamingos occasionally appear in unexpected places far from their usual range. Individuals have been spotted in regions of northern Europe, in parts of the United States where they do not typically live, even in isolated wetlands far from any known population. These wanderers, blown off course by storms or simply exploring beyond normal boundaries, remind us that the natural world is full of surprises. Perhaps there is a flamingo standing somewhere unexpected right now, as you drift towards sleep. Perhaps it is gazing across unfamiliar waters, wondering how it arrived there, taking in a landscape its ancestors never knew. And so the flamingos continue their lives across this planet of extremes. From burning volcanic lakes to cool mountain wetlands. From tropical coastlines to arid desert edges. They find a way. They always find a way. Picture one of those great African lakes, perhaps Lake Nakuru, perhaps Lake Bogoria, where the water is pink not from the sunset, but from the sheer number of birds crowded along its shores. A gathering of flamingos is called a flamboyance, and there could be no more fitting name. A flamboyance. Say it slowly in your mind. Let the word drift through your thoughts like a feather on still water. We have spoken of flamingos as though they were all the same. But now it is time to reveal a beautiful truth. There is not just one kind of flamingo in this world. There are six. 6 distinct species of flamingo exist on Earth today. Each one is unique. Each one has its own character, its own home, its own story. And yet they are all unmistakably flamingos, long-legged, curved-beaked, and touched with shades of pink. Let us meet them now, one by one, as though we were travelers visiting old friends around the globe. We begin with the largest of them all. The greater flamingo is the tallest flamingo species, standing up to 5 feet tall. Imagine a bird that could look you in the eye if you are of average height. That is the greater flamingo, elegant, imposing, and widespread. These magnificent birds are found across parts of Africa, southern Europe, and Western Asia. They are the flamingos that wade through the wetlands of France and Spain, the ones that gather along the shores of the Mediterranean and the salt lakes of India. Their feathers are the palest pink among the flamingos, sometimes appearing almost white with just a blush of color. But their wings hide a secret. When they spread them wide, vivid coral and black feathers are revealed beneath, a hidden beauty saved for moments of flight. Now we travel across the Atlantic Ocean to warmer waters. The American flamingo is the only flamingo species that naturally inhabits North America. These are the flamingos of the Caribbean, of the Yucatan Peninsula, of the Galapagos Islands and the northern coasts of South America. They are also sometimes called Caribbean flamingos, and their color tends to be more vibrant, a deeper, richer pink that borders on orange. If you have ever seen a postcard of flamingos standing in turquoise tropical waters with palm trees swaying behind them, you have likely seen the American flamingo. They are the iconic image, the picture that comes to mind when most people think of these birds. But let us leave the tropical coasts behind and climb higher. Much higher. In the Andes Mountains of South America, at altitudes that would leave most creatures gasping for breath, 3 species of flamingo make their home. They are the high-altitude specialists, living in conditions as extreme in their own way as the volcanic lakes we visited earlier. The Andean flamingo is the rarest flamingo species in the world. Fewer than 40,000 of these birds remain, scattered across the high salt lakes of Peru, Chile, Bolivia, and Argentina. They have yellow legs, unique among flamingos, and a patch of black feathers at the back of their wings that is larger than in other species. They are gentle giants of the mountains, quiet and increasingly precious. Sharing those same high lakes as another species, the James's flamingo, which was once thought to be extinct. For nearly 50 years, scientists believed this small flamingo had vanished from the earth entirely. Then, in 1956, a remote colony was discovered high in the Bolivian Andes, and the world learned that the James's flamingo had been hiding all along, surviving in lakes so isolated that humans rarely ventured there. They are the smallest of the South American flamingos, with bright red skin around their eyes and delicate pinkish-orange plumage. Their rediscovery was a gift, a reminder that nature sometimes keeps secrets and occasionally reveals them again. The third Andean species is the Chilean flamingo, the most widespread flamingo in South America. Unlike its rarer cousins, the Chilean flamingo can be found from the high mountains all the way down to sea level, adapting to a variety of habitats. Their legs are grayish with pink joints, as though they had stepped into paint up to their knees. These 3 species, the Andean, the James's, and the Chilean, sometimes feed together on the same high-altitude lakes, their different sizes and beak shapes allowing them to take slightly different food from the same waters without truly competing. Now we return to Africa to meet the final 2. The lesser flamingo is the smallest of all 6 species, and also the most numerous. Despite its modest size, standing only about 3 feet tall, it gathers in greater numbers than any other flamingo. It is the lesser flamingo that forms those breathtaking colonies of over 1 million birds. It is the lesser flamingo that turns the lakes of East Africa into seas of pink. Their beaks are darker than other flamingos, a deep reddish maroon, and their plumage is among the most vibrantly pink. What they lack in size, they make up for in sheer abundance and intensity of Colorado. And finally, there is the greater flamingo's African cousin, sometimes considered the same species, sometimes classified separately, wading through the same soda lakes and coastal lagoons, sharing the continent with the lesser flamingo in peaceful coexistence. 6 species. 6 variations on a single beautiful theme. What strikes me most, as we think about these 6 flamingos scattered across the world, is how they have each found their own way. The greater flamingo chose the Mediterranean and the Middle East. The American flamingo claimed the tropical Caribbean. The 3 Indian species climbed into the sky and made their homes among the clouds. The lesser flamingo gathered in numbers too vast to count. Each species has evolved slightly different beak structures to feed on different organisms. Their bills vary in depth, in the spacing of their filtering lamellae, in the angle of their curve. These small differences allow multiple species to share the same lakes without taking food from one another's mouths. It is a quiet cooperation, an unspoken agreement written into their very anatomy. And so the 6 flamingos continue their ancient lives. Some are thriving. Some are struggling as their habitats face new threats. But all of them carry forward the legacy of those first flamingos who walked the earth tens of millions of years ago. Rest now with this knowledge. 6 species of flamingo. 6 shades of pink. 6 stories unfolding at this very moment on mountains and coastlines and salt flats around the world. Now let us spend some time simply being with them. Watching them. Listening to them. Understanding how they speak to one another without ever using words. A flamingo colony is never truly silent. Even in the stillness of night, soft sounds drift across the water. Murmurs. Low calls. The gentle rustle of feathers adjusting. And when day breaks, the chorus grows louder. Flamingos are highly vocal birds with a wide range of calls and sounds. They honk. They grunt. They growl. They produce nasal sounds that carry across great distances. To human ears, these noises might seem harsh or unmusical. But to the flamingos, each sound carries meaning. There are calls for alarm, sharp and urgent, warning the flock that danger approaches. There are softer sounds exchanged between mates, gentle acknowledgments that say I am here. I am still here. There are the cries of chicks calling for their parents and the answering calls of mothers and fathers navigating through the crowd. Parent flamingos begin calling to their chicks even before hatching. While the egg still rests atop the mud mound, the parents vocalize to it, and the chick inside listens. It hears its parents' voices muffled through the shell and begins to learn them. By the time it breaks free, it already knows the sound of home. This early bonding is essential. In a colony of thousands, where every chick looks nearly identical and every adult seems the same, voice becomes identity. It is how families stay connected in the chaos of communal life. But flamingos do not communicate only through sound. They also speak with their bodies. Watch a flamingo colony for any length of time, and you will notice movement everywhere. Heads turning, wings stretching, necks extending and curving. These are not random gestures. Flamingos use a variety of physical displays to communicate mood, intention, and status. A flamingo that stretches its neck tall and holds its head high is signaling alertness, perhaps dominance. One that tucks its head beneath its wing is resting, signaling that all is calm. When flamingos rapidly turn their heads from side to side in unison, they are engaged in courtship, signaling their interest in finding a mate. And then there is the wing salute, a sudden spreading of the wings that reveals the striking black and red feathers hidden beneath. This flash of contrasting color serves as a visual signal visible from great distances. It can mean many things: a greeting, a warning, an invitation. The context determines the meaning, just as the same word in human language can carry different weight depending on how it is spoken. Perhaps what is most remarkable is how synchronized these communications become. We spoke earlier of the courtship dances, hundreds of birds moving together as one. But this synchronization extends beyond mating rituals. Flamingos often perform group displays even outside of breeding season, reinforcing social bonds. They march together. They call together. They stretch and preen and turn in unison as though following invisible choreography. These shared movements strengthen the connections within the flock, reminding each bird that it belongs to something larger than itself. There is comfort in moving together, in knowing without looking that others are beside you, matching your rhythm, sharing your purpose. Perhaps you have felt this yourself, in a crowd moving toward a common destination, in a group singing the same song, in simply walking alongside someone you love. The flamingos feel it too. Now let us speak of something quieter, something more intimate. When flamingos are not calling or displaying, they spend a great deal of time on a simpler activity, caring for their feathers. Flamingos spend many hours each day preening. They run their beaks through their feathers meticulously, realigning each one, removing dirt and parasites, spreading oils that keep the plumage waterproof and healthy. It is patient, repetitive work, and they return to it again and again throughout the day. Near the base of a flamingo's tail sits a small gland called the preen gland, or uropygial gland. This gland produces an oil that flamingos spread across their feathers during preening. The bird dips its beak against the gland, coating it with this waxy substance, then distributes it carefully along each feather. The oil helps repel water, maintaining the insulation that keeps the bird warm even while standing in cool lakes. There is something meditative about watching a flamingo preen. The slow, deliberate movements, the careful attention to each section of the body, the way the bird seems entirely absorbed in the task, present in the moment, focused only on what is directly before it. Rapidly, a subtle, rhythmic flutter. Flamingos pant to cool themselves down, much like dogs do. When temperatures rise, flamingos open their beaks and rapidly flutter the skin of their throats, increasing airflow across the moist tissues inside. This evaporates water and releases heat from the body, helping the bird stay cool. It's a simple solution to a serious problem. In the harsh, sun-baked environments where many flamingos live, overheating could be fatal. But the flamingo has adapted. It pants. It rests. It waits for the world to cool before resuming its gentle activities. There is no fighting the heat. There is only managing it. Resting when rest is needed. Waiting for conditions to change. The flamingo knows that some things cannot be rushed. Perhaps we can learn from this too. The value of slowing down, of tending to ourselves with patience, of finding peace in simple, repetitive care. And when the preening is done, when the calls have quieted, when the displays have ended for the day, the flamingos rest. They stand on one leg in the fading light. They tuck their heads beneath their wings. Some sleep while standing in the water. Others gather on dry land, settling down onto their folded legs. Flamingos can sleep while standing, and they often sleep with one eye open. This is called unihemispheric sleep. Half of the brain rests while the other half remains alert, keeping watch for predators. Even in slumber, the flamingo is never entirely unaware. It balances on one leg, dreaming perhaps of salt flats and shallow waters, while some small part of it stays awake, guardian of its own rest. A flamingo's eyes are larger than its brain. Those round, pale eyes, often yellow or orange, with dark pupils at the center, take up more space inside the flamingo's skull than the brain itself. Think about what this means. The flamingo's world is dominated by sight. It sees the shimmer of water, the movement of tiny shrimp in the shallows, the approach of distant predators, the colors of its flock mates against the sky. Vision is everything. The eyes are prioritized above all else, even above the organ that processes what those eyes see. And the flamingo's vision is keen. It can spot danger from far away. It can find its own chick among thousands by sight as well as sound. It navigates across vast distances, following landmarks and coastlines and the positions of the sun and stars. Flamingos have a third eyelid, called a nictitating membrane, that protects their eyes. This transparent inner eyelid can slide horizontally across the eye, shielding it from water, dust, and debris while still allowing the flamingo to see. When a flamingo dips its head underwater to feed, the nictitating membrane closes over the eye like a protective window. The bird can still see the food it's filtering, but its delicate eye is shielded from the salty, alkaline water that would otherwise cause irritation. Think of it as a built-in pair of goggles. A clear shield that slides into place whenever protection is needed, then retracts when the danger is past. Many birds have this third eyelid, but for the flamingo, spending so much of its life with its head underwater, it is especially important. The eyes that are larger than the brain are also well protected, sealed behind that transparent membrane, watching the murky world beneath the surface. Flamingos possess a countercurrent heat exchange system in their legs. Here is how it works. Warm blood flowing down from the body passes very close to cold blood returning up from the feet. As they pass each other, heat transfers from the warm blood to the cold blood, recycling that precious warmth back into the body before it can escape. By the time blood reaches the flamingo's feet, it has already given up most of its heat. And by the time it returns to the body, it has already been warmed again. Very little heat is lost to the cold water. This is why a flamingo can stand for hours in icy water without freezing. This is why they can sleep through cold nights with one leg submerged. Their bodies have solved the problem of heat loss in the most elegant way imaginable, not by avoiding the cold, but by recycling warmth in an endless, efficient loop. When you look at a flamingo, it is difficult to guess its age. A bird standing in the water today might have hatched just 3 years ago, still developing its full pink color. Or it might have been alive for decades, watching generations of chicks grow and take flight. Flamingos are exceptionally long-lived birds, often surviving 20 to 30 years in the wild. This is remarkable when you consider the challenges they face: predators, harsh environments, the constant search for food. And yet, year after year, they endure. Their bodies are built for longevity, their habits shaped by patience and persistence. But the wild is not the only place flamingos live. In zoos and sanctuaries around the world, where food is plentiful and predators are absent, flamingos live even longer. The oldest known flamingo lived to be over 80 years old. This extraordinary bird, named Greater, resided at the Adelaide Zoo in Australia. It had arrived at the zoo in the 1930s, already an adult, meaning no one knew exactly when it had been born. For decade after decade, it stood in its enclosure, watching the world change around it. Visitors who saw it as children returned as grandparents and found it still there, still pink, still standing. Imagine 80 years of sunrises reflected in still water. 80 years of preening the same feathers. 80 years of standing, resting, simply being. There is something almost mythical about such longevity, as though the flamingo had found a secret the rest of us have not yet discovered. What allows flamingos to live so long? Scientists believe several factors contribute. Flamingos have very few natural predators as adults. Their size helps. A fully grown flamingo is a substantial bird, and its long legs can deliver surprisingly powerful kicks. Their choice of habitat helps too. Those caustic lakes and remote salt flats that we explored earlier keep many would-be predators at a distance. And their social nature provides additional safety. In a flock of thousands, any individual bird is unlikely to be singled out. But perhaps the most important factor is simpler than all of this. Flamingos lead relatively low-stress lives. Their days follow predictable patterns. They wake. They feed. They preen. They rest. They do not chase prey across exhausting distances like wolves or lions. They do not engage in violent territorial battles like some other birds. Their filter feeding method is efficient and calm, requiring minimal energy expenditure. This steady, unhurried existence seems to agree with them. Their hearts beat at a measured pace. Their bodies experience less wear. And the years accumulate gently, one after another, without urgency. There is wisdom here, perhaps. A reminder that longevity is not always about doing more, striving harder, pushing further. Sometimes it is about finding a rhythm that sustains rather than depletes. About letting go of unnecessary struggle. About standing peacefully in the water and allowing time to pass without resistance. As flamingos age, their bodies do change, though the changes are subtle. Older flamingos may develop slightly duller plumage as their feeding efficiency decreases. The vibrant pink that signals health and vitality in younger birds may fade somewhat in their later years. Their movements may slow. Their reactions may become less sharp. The black coloring on flamingo wings comes from melanin, not carotenoids. While the pink is borrowed from food, the black is built into the feathers themselves, the same pigment that colors human hair and skin. When a flamingo opens its wings wide, you see it clearly, a stripe of deep black along the flight feathers, contrasting sharply with the pink and white and coral. It's dramatic, unexpected, a flash of darkness in all that softness. This black coloring serves a purpose. Melanin makes feathers stronger and more resistant to wear. The flight feathers, which endure the most stress during flight, benefit from this extra durability. The black isn't just beautiful, it's practica. And yet they remain part of the flock. They are not cast out or abandoned. Flamingo flocks are multi-generational, with young and old living side by side. The elders stand among the youth, perhaps offering some form of wisdom through their mere presence. They have survived droughts and storms. They have navigated predators and scarcity. They have watched countless chicks grow up and take flight. In some ways, these older flamingos serve as living memory for the flock. They know the migration routes, the reliable feeding grounds, the safe places to rest. Younger birds follow where the elders lead, trusting in knowledge accumulated over decades. Flamingos develop long-term friendships with particular members of their flock. Researchers have observed the same pairs of birds standing near each other, feeding together, and choosing each other's company year after year. Some of these friendships last for decades. And it's not just pairs. Some flamingos have small social circles, groups of 3, 4, or 5 birds who consistently seek each other out among the thousands. They recognize each other. They prefer each other. They are, in their own quiet way, friends. Imagine being a flamingo in a flock of 50,000, and still having your particular companions. The ones you stand beside at dusk. The ones whose calls you recognize across the water. The ones who feel, somehow, like home. Each year, when conditions are right, the flamingos breed again. The elders may still participate, even after many years. Flamingos can continue breeding well into old age, sometimes producing chicks into their 40s or beyond. The urge to reproduce, to nurture, to continue the species does not easily fade. A flamingo in its 5th decade might stand once again atop a mud mound, watching over a single precious egg. It might produce crop milk and feed a new chick with the same dedication it showed as a younger bird. The body may be older, but the instincts remain strong. And when at last a flamingo's life draws to its close, it often happens quietly. A gradual slowing. A final rest. The other flamingos do not hold funerals or mourn in ways we would recognize. Life in the colony continues, as it always has, as it always will. But something is passed on. The genes that allowed one flamingo to survive for so many years now flow through its offspring. The knowledge it carried, where to feed, where to shelter, when to fly, has been absorbed by those who traveled alongside it. Nothing is truly low. Flamingo populations have existed continuously for millions of years through this cycle of birth, life, and renewal. Each individual flamingo is a single note in an ancient song, a brief flame in a fire that has burned since before humans walked the earth. The song continues. The fire endures. And somewhere right now, at this very moment, a flamingo that was born before you were is standing in shallow water beneath a darkening sky. It has seen so much. It has traveled so far. And it is still here, still standing, still pink. We have spent so much time with the birds themselves. Now let us step back and consider something different, the long, strange, and sometimes beautiful relationship between flamingos and the humans who have watched them across the ages. For as long as people have lived near flamingo habitats, they have noticed these extraordinary birds. How could they not? A creature that tall, that pink, that graceful could never escape attention. And so, throughout history, flamingos have found their way into human art, culture, mythology, and imagination. Ancient civilizations revered flamingos as symbols of various deities and spiritual concepts. In Egypt, the flamingo was associated with Ra, the sun god. The bird's vivid red and pink coloring connected it to the sun's fire, to the life-giving warmth that rose each morning over the Nile. Flamingo imagery has been found in ancient Egyptian art, the birds depicted with their characteristic curved necks and long legs. The Egyptians were not alone in their admiration. Across different cultures and continents, wherever flamingos appeared, humans found meaning in them. In parts of South America, indigenous peoples used flamingo feathers in ceremonial dress and spiritual rituals. The brilliant pink plumes were considered precious, imbued with power and beauty. They adorned headdresses and cloaks worn during important occasions. To wear the flamingo's feathers was to carry something of its grace, its connection to water and sky and earth. The Romans had a very different relationship with flamingos, one that is harder for us to hear today. Ancient Romans considered flamingo tongue a rare delicacy. Wealthy citizens served this unusual dish at lavish banquets, a display of excess and status. The tongue was said to have a unique flavor, and its rarity made it desirable among those who wished to impress their guests. Flamingos were hunted specifically for this purpose, their bodies largely discarded after the small prize was taken. It is a strange chapter in the history between our species. The same bird that some cultures treated as sacred, others treated as mere luxury food. Perhaps this says more about human nature than about flamingos themselves. But let us move forward in time, to gentler connections. In more recent centuries, flamingos have become beloved symbols of beauty and whimsy. Artists have painted them. Poets have written about them. Their image has been reproduced on everything from postcards to postage stamps. Flamingos appear in the art and literature of cultures around the world. The French painter Gustave Moreau depicted them in dreamlike scenes. The American naturalist John James Audubon painted them in exquisite detail for his famous bird illustrations. Writers have used flamingos as metaphors for elegance, for exoticism, for the surprising beauty found in nature. And then, in the middle of the 20th century, something unexpected happened. The plastic pink flamingo lawn ornament was invented in 1957. A designer named Don Featherstone created it for a company in Massachusetts, and it quickly became a cultural phenomenon. Suddenly, flamingos were everywhere, standing in suburban yards across America. Their bright pink forms a cheerful contrast to green grass and white picket fences. These plastic birds became a symbol of kitsch, of humor, of a certain carefree spirit. Some people loved them sincerely. Others displayed them ironically. But either way, the flamingo had entered popular culture in an entirely new form. A bird that once represented sun gods and sacred ceremonies now represented summer fun and playful decoration. There is something endearing about this, perhaps. The flamingo is adaptable not only in its habitats but in its meanings. It can be sacred. It can be silly. It can be both at once. Humans project many things onto this patient bird, and the flamingo simply continues being itsy. LF. Today, our relationship with flamingos has taken on new dimensions. We have become their protectors, or at least, we are trying to be. Many flamingo species face threats from habitat loss, pollution, and climate change. The same lakes where they have fed for millennia are now affected by agricultural runoff, industrial contamination, and the unpredictable shifts in weather patterns that come with a warming planet. Water levels rise and fall in ways the flamingos cannot predict. Food sources dwindle in some areas. The Andean flamingo, as we discussed earlier, numbers fewer than 40,000 individuals. The lesser flamingo, despite its vast numbers, is classified as near threatened because so much of its population depends on just a few key lakes that are increasingly vulnerable to human activity. Why? But there is also reason for hope. Conservation efforts have helped stabilize or increase some flamingo populations. Protected areas have been established around critical breeding sites. International agreements limit hunting and trade. Scientists monitor colonies carefully, tracking population numbers and health. When flamingos face drought or food shortages, rescue operations sometimes relocate eggs or chicks to safety. In some places, flamingos have even returned to areas where they had long been absent. Wetland restoration projects have created new habitat. Pollution controls have improved water quality. Slowly, patiently, some of the damage is being undone. The flamingos do not know about our conservation laws or our scientific studies. They simply respond to the conditions they find. When the water is clean and the food is plentiful, they stay. They breed. They thrive. That is all they ask of us, really, to leave them the world they need. And so here we are, sharing this planet with flamingos as humans have done for thousands upon thousands of years. We have worshipped them and hunted them. We have painted them and planted plastic versions of them in our gardens. We have threatened their homes and fought to protect them. Through it all, the flamingos have continued. Standing in their shallow waters. Filtering their food. Raising their chicks. Turning pink in the sunlight. Perhaps the best thing we can do now is simply appreciate them. To watch them when we have the chance. To support their protection when we can. And to remember that we share this earth with creatures far older than our civilizations. Creatures who ask for nothing but the space to exist. Even after centuries of observation, flamingos still hold secrets. Consider their sense of direction. Flamingos travel great distances, sometimes hundreds of miles in a single journey. They navigate across featureless landscapes, salt flats that stretch to the horizon, open water with no landmarks, night skies with only stars to guide them. And yet they find their way. Scientists believe flamingos may use the Earth's magnetic field to navigate during migration. Like some other birds, they appear to possess an internal compass, a sensitivity to the planet's invisible magnetic lines. This would allow them to orient themselves even when visual cues are absent, even when flying through darkness or across unfamiliar terrain. Imagine carrying a map inside your mind that you cannot see but can always feel. A gentle pull toward the right direction, as natural as breathing. The flamingos trust this invisible guidance and follow where it leads. And their bodies contain other marvels that we are only beginning to understand. Flamingo bones are mostly hollow, making them lightweight for flight despite their large size. This is true of many birds, but in flamingos the adaptation is particularly striking. A bird that stands 5 feet tall and appears so substantial is actually built like a delicate framework, its bones filled with air rather than marrow. This allows the flamingo to lift off from the water with surprising ease, those long wings carrying an unexpectedly light body into the sky. When you watch a flamingo fly, remember this. What looks heavy is actually hollow. What seems impossible is actually effortless. There are metaphors here, perhaps, for our own lives, the burdens we carry that are lighter than they appear, the flights we are capable of when we trust our own wings. Let us return to the water for a moment. To the flamingo's most essential activity, feeding. We have discussed how flamingos filter tiny organisms from the water. But the mechanics of this process are even more extraordinary than they first appear. A flamingo's tongue acts as a rapid pump, moving water through the beak up to 20 times per second. 20 times. In a single second. This astonishingly fast motion creates the pressure needed to push water and mud through those cone-like lamellae, separating food from waste with incredible efficiency. The tongue is muscular and precise, a biological machine perfected over millions of years of evolution. And all of this happens while the bird stands peacefully in the shallows, appearing perfectly calm. Beneath the surface, hidden from view, that tongue is working with furious speed. Stillness above. Intense activity below. The flamingo teaches us that appearances can be deceiving, that great effort can be invisible. Now let us consider something that puzzled scientists for many years. Flamingo knees appear to bend backwards, but what we see are actually their ankles. This is a common misconception. When you watch a flamingo walk or fold its leg, the joint that bends in that seemingly unnatural direction is not the knee at all. The true knee is hidden higher up, close to the body, usually concealed beneath feathers. What we see bending is the ankle and the elongated foot bones. So flamingos are essentially walking on their toes. Those long, elegant legs are extended feet, and the birds move through the world on tiptoe, as graceful as ballet dancers. Once you know this, watching a flamingo walk becomes even more mesmerizing. Each step is a small miracle of anatomy. Why? There are practical mysteries too, questions about how flamingos manage the daily challenges of their unusual lives. Flamingos have a special gland near their eyes that filters excess salt from their bodies. When you live in salt lakes and alkaline waters, when you drink brine and eat organisms soaked in minerals, your body accumulates dangerous levels of salt. Most creatures would perish. But the flamingo possesses a suborbital gland that extracts this excess salt and expels it through the nostrils. You might sometimes see a flamingo appearing to have a runny nose, clear liquid dripping from its beak. This is not illness. It is the salt gland at work, quietly purifying the blood, keeping the body in balance. Another invisible labor. Another silent adaptation. And what of the flamingo's famous color? We know it comes from their food. But there is more to the story. Flamingos can actually control and enhance their pink coloration during mating season. Scientists have observed that flamingos apply extra pigment to their feathers through their preening oil during breeding time. They rub this tinted oil across their plumage deliberately, making themselves appear more vibrant, more attractive to potential mates. When breeding season ends, they allow this enhanced color to fade. In other words, flamingos wear makeup. They understand, on some instinctive level, that appearance matters when seeking a partner, and they take steps to present themselves at their best. When the purpose has passed, they let the enhancement wash away. There is something almost human about this, the desire to be seen, to be chosen, to put our best selves forward when it matters most. And finally, a marvel that brings everything together. Flamingo flocks move and respond as a single unified organism. When one bird takes flight, others follow within milliseconds. When danger approaches, the alarm spreads through the colony faster than any individual bird could communicate it. Scientists call this collective behavior, and it remains only partially understood. How do they do it? How do thousands of individuals act as one? Some of it is visual, birds watching their neighbors and mirroring their movements. Some of it may be auditory, calls spreading through the group like ripples in water. But there seems to be something more, some deeper connection that we have not fully explained. Perhaps the flamingos simply know, in some way beyond our understanding, that they are part of something larger than themselves. Perhaps that knowledge lives in their bones, hollow and light, carried with them wherever they fly. The sun is setting over the lake one last time. The water has turned to gold and copper and rose. The flamingos stand in silhouette against the fading light, their shapes as familiar to us now as old friends. We have learned so much about them. But there are still a few final treasures to discover. Let us begin with something remarkable about how flamingos enter this world. Flamingo chicks are born with a special egg tooth that falls off shortly after hatching. This tiny, hard projection on the tip of their beak exists for one purpose only, to help the chick break free from its shell. The hatching process is exhausting, sometimes lasting more than 24 hours, and the egg tooth is the chick's only tool. Once freedom is achieved, the tooth is no longer needed. Within days, it simply falls away, a temporary gift discarded once its purpose is fulfilled. There is something poetic about this. We are sometimes given exactly what we need for a particular moment, a particular challenge. And when that moment passes, we can let it go. Now consider what happens immediately after hatching. Newborn flamingo chicks can swim before they can walk steadily. In the watery world where they are born, this makes perfect sense. The shallow lakes and flooded flats require comfort and water from the very beginning. A chick that tumbles from its mud mound nest might land in water rather than on solid ground. And so nature has prepared them, giving them the instinct to paddle and float before their legs have fully learned to carry them. Imagine being so new to the world, just hours old, and already knowing how to move through water. The knowledge is written somewhere deep inside, passed down through countless generations, ready when it is needed. Flamingos are capable swimmers, using their webbed feet to paddle through water when necessary. Those 3 forward-facing toes, connected by stretches of leathery skin, work just as well for swimming as they do for walking through mud. You might see a flamingo swimming across a deeper section of lake, its body floating high, its neck held in an elegant curve above the surface. It paddles along calmly, unhurried, as comfortable in deep water as it is in the shallows. Most of the time, flamingos prefer to wade. They like to feel the bottom beneath their feet, to stir up the mud where their food hides. But they are never trapped by depth. If they need to cross open water, they simply float and paddle, their webbed feet carrying them smoothly along. Young flamingos can run at considerable speeds across mudflats in shallow water. Before they learn to fly, before their wings are strong enough to carry them, their legs become powerful. When danger approaches or the flock begins to move, young flamingos sprint alongside the adults, their small legs churning through water and mud. They are faster than you might expect, driven by instinct and the urgent need to keep up with the group. Eventually, those legs will carry them into the sky. But first, they carry them across the earth, teaching the young birds that they are capable, that they can move, that they can keep pace with those who came before, and they do not always travel alone. Flamingos have been observed flying in V formations similar to geese. This arrangement is not accidental. The bird at the front breaks through the air, creating a slipstream that makes flying easier for those behind. Each flamingo benefits from the one ahead, conserving energy on long journeys. They take turns at the front, sharing the burden of leadership. There is a lesson here too, perhaps. That we go further when we go together. That taking turns at the hard work makes the journey possible for everyone. That following is not weakness, and leading is not permanent. Now let us speak of something quieter. Something that happens when flamingos are not flying or feeding or raising chicks. Flamingos engage in what scientists call comfort behaviors, stretching, yawning, and shaking their feathers. These actions serve no obvious survival purpose. They are not about finding food or escaping predators or attracting mates. They are simply about feeling good in one's own body. A flamingo will stretch one wing out to its full span, holding the pose for a long moment. It will open its beak wide in something that looks very much like a yawn. It will ruffle all its feathers at once and then shake them back into place with a satisfied jive. Flamingos are most closely related to grebes, those small, diving water birds that look nothing like flamingos at all. Grebes are compact. They dive beneath the surface to catch fish. They have lobed feet rather than webbed ones. On the outside, they seem to have almost nothing in common with the tall, pink, filter-feeding flamingo. And yet, deep in their DNA, these two groups of birds share an ancient ancestor. Somewhere in the distant past, millions of years ago, their family trees diverged, one branch becoming the diving grebes, the other becoming the wading flamingos. It's a reminder that appearances can deceive. That connection runs deeper than the surface. That two creatures can look entirely different and still be family. You share ancestors with countless creatures, too. The tree of life branches and branches again, but at its roots, we are all connected. Perhaps these are the moments when flamingos are most like us. Small pleasures. Simple comforts. The quiet satisfaction of a good stretch after standing still for too long. We are nearing the end now, dear listener. The light over the lake has almost gone. The first stars are appearing in the darkening sky. The flamingos are settling into their nighttime stillness. But there is one more thing to share. Flamingos have existed in essentially their current form for over 10 million years. While the world around them transformed, continents drifting, ice ages coming and going, countless species rising and falling, the flamingos remained. They found what worked and they kept doing it. They did not need to become something else. 10 million years of standing in shallow water. 10 million years of filtering tiny organisms through curved beaks. 10 million years of turning pink, of building mud nests, of raising chicks in vast colonies. 10 million years of flight and rest and the endless patient rhythm of flamingo life. When you feel the pressure to change, to become something new, to keep up with a world that moves so fast, perhaps remember the flamingos. Sometimes the wisest path is simply to keep being what you are, doing what you do well, trusting that your way is value.